I sit here in my little library in Cambridge, Massachusetts, 3 floors up, looking out from my own quiet eyrie over the rooftops, and I watch the evening settle over these houses, each one full of people trying to make sense of a country that feels heavier every year. And I keep asking myself a simple question that nobody on social media ever seems willing to ask. Are you like me? Do you see those messages flood across your feed? Boycott Amazon, boycott Home Depot, boycott the whole pile of corporate giants, and feel that little sting of confusion? Not because you disagree with the anger, not because you think the corporations are saints, but because you understand what it actually takes to move an institution with that kind of strategic capital behind it. Who starts these boycott messages? Who believes that a few viral posts can topple entities that operate their logistics as if they're mapping out a small war? Entities with boards and legal teams and entire floors of analysts who speak the language of capital, the way most people speak the language of the weather. Always checking the pressure system, always aware of what is moving toward them. And yet, inside our discourse, the dissatisfied citizens reach again for the same tool: blunt force, shout, boycott, rage, retreat. It is always brute force, as if the loudness of the anger will substitute for the absence of our infrastructure. As if a consumer with 2 weeks of savings can go up against a corporation that can operate at a loss for an entire year and still come out with a stronger balance sheet than when they began. When did someone convince the public that this was the battlefield? When did someone convince them that withholding $20 would level the field with an entity whose quarterly reports show numbers that eclipse entire countries? It is not that the anger is misplaced. The anger is real. It is that the mechanism is weak, and the weakness has consequences. Every boycott that sputters out reinforces the idea that the public cannot organize with discipline. Every attempted pressure campaign that fails because the households that need the lowest prices cannot sustain the strike creates a kind of psychic fatigue. And the corporations, who are not stupid, who study patterns for a living, know that they only need to wait it out. Meanwhile, the collateral damage shows up in the wrong places. The supply chain tightens, and the first people to feel it are the ones who can least afford the shock. Smaller vendors, independent contractors, minority-owned suppliers who depend on the big distributors. They do not have a cushion either. And so the tool that was meant to punish the giants ends up harming the very people the giants already neglect. This is the part no one wants to say out loud. Boycotts without structure are not acts of rebellion. They are acts of self-harm. They are expressions of frustration that get rebranded as strategy. And yet we keep doing it because the public has not been taught to think in power terms. They have been taught to think in outrage. They have been taught to organize around leverage, only around emotion. They have not been taught to understand that when corporations fight, they do not fight like a crowd of angry households. They fight like institutions. They fight with analysts, with capital reserves, and patient tactics. So we should be asking a different question. If we actually wanted to create leverage against oligarchic structures, what would it take? If 70 million voters wanted to coordinate their economic power, what would that require? Not vibes, not posts, not hashtags. Infrastructure, discipline, a plan that does not collapse when the rent is due, a strategy that understands the enemy in structural terms and not emotional ones. Because right now we keep going to brute force. Brute force is the only tool anyone has ever handed us. And that is the tragedy. Not that the public is angry, but that they are under-equipped for the fight they think they are fighting. And nobody has bothered to teach them what real power looks like.